What's up, guys? Welcome back to Fancy Goldfish Fanatics. Today I'm bringing you another one of our Back to Basics series, all based on wen growth and wen development. So stay tuned to find out more. Hey Fanatics family, welcome back. Remember to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can keep up to date with our future uploads. Also, if you're not already part of the family, check out the link in the description and join our Facebook group. So today we're going to be doing another Back to Basics series, and we're going to be covering wen growth and wen development, because I see lots of people on the Facebook group discussing if their fish has white spot or wen development or even breeding tubercles. Firstly, I just want to go over parasites quickly, just so we can identify the difference between these and the difference between wen growth. So first up is white spot. White spot is an ectoparasite that lives on your goldfish, and the goldfish is a host. So white spot has 4 different life stages. So you should normally see white spot forming on your goldfish in the early morning or just when your lights turn on, and then you might notice the white spot slightly disappear in the evening. This is because the white spot slowly makes its way up the water column, and then your fish hosts the white spot. The white spots are actually little lesions where the parasite has burrowed into the mucus layer and is feeding on the fish, which then obviously leads to secondary infection. It may look like your goldfish has had a sprinkling of salt on it. This is how to tell if it's white spot rather than wen growth, because the salt grains should be all over the fish, so you'll see on the fins, the body, the head, sometimes even the eyes. However, you may also have Epistylus, which is another ectoparasite that's sometimes commonly confused with white spot. Epistylus should form on the goldfish in much larger numbers generally, and it's a lot smaller than white spot, so it may form like it looks like the goldfish may have had flour sprinkled onto it. But both of these parasites are completely different to wen growth. So basically, if you see these white spots all over the fish, then it's very unlikely to be wen growth. Also, lastly, wen growth is not to be confused with breeding tubercles, or commonly known as breeding stars, which will form on the pectoral fins of male goldfish, and also on the gill covers you should see small white tubercles. So if you see the white spots only concentrated on the gills and the pectoral fins, then it is extremely unlikely that it will be a parasite. Occasionally female goldfish can get breeding stars, but this is in very rare cases. Now we've gone over parasites and breeding tubercles, let's get on to wen growth and what we should be looking for. Firstly, wen growth normally occurs on varieties such as Ranchu and Aranda, and is often formed of small little white lumps that you may see on the fish. These can sometimes be a little bit fleshy, and it might look like some skin is hanging off the fish, or sometimes they can be really small. The wen actually has no blood flow and no nervous system, so it's basically just like a fleshy mass that looks like the big brain on the top of your goldfish. Wen growth is normally quite sporadic. You might have a few little white areas on the wen growth, but you shouldn't normally see too many at once. But it's still possible. This is normally how you can distinguish it between white spot, because white spots you'd normally notice quite a few different spots on the fish. The white wen growth is just new tissue growing over the wen, which slowly grows as the fish gets older. You may also see slight bruising, or it might look like someone's punched a goldfish in the head and it's got a black eye. This is just all part of the wen developing, and sometimes little bits of the wen die off. and then regrow. So don't worry too much if you see small red patches or like a purple patch on the fish. If the fish is healthy, your water's clean and your filtration is up to par, then the fish will likely easily recover, and this is just normal development of the variety. So I'm just going to put a few pictures up here and here of what normal wen growth looks like, so it might help some of you distinguish this between wen growth and ectoparasite. Another little bit of information on hood growth and wen development is when you're selecting young fish, you want to see a bit of wen already growing on them, from about 1 inch, even that small, up to 2 inches. You want to see that wen starting to develop, because it's unlikely that the wen will come through if the fish doesn't already have it at a young age. Wen growth is normally down to genetics, and it's very hard to get a fish's wen growth bigger and better if the fish doesn't have much of a wen in the first place. Although you can enhance it with different foods and different regimes, it's generally all down to the specific bloodline that your fish has come from and the parent fish. So I'd always take a look at the parent fish before you select a youngster, if possible. Also, when selecting a fish, if you can see that there's some wen growth around the chin and it looks like the fish has got a double chin, this is a really good trait to look for, and it can indicate that you'll get a nice hood growth in the future. Now let's take a look at a few pictures. So the first one here, this is wen growth. So you can just see the little white patches on the fish. The second picture now is a white spot, so hopefully you can start to differentiate between the two. And then also the third one just here is epistylus. So hopefully putting these pictures all together, you can see the slight differences between them. And then I'm just going to put a few different pictures up on the screen of a range of wen growth now. So as you can see, the wen growth is completely different dependent on the fish. And obviously when you're selecting a fish, you want to buy a fish that's got that nice wen development already, so you can further enhance that with your different keeping practices. There are a few different types of wen also to add. You may see Chinese fish which normally have a nice round wen, and they've got quite round body shapes. They're sort of like a buffalo type of ranchu. Here's an example just here. Also, you can get the Thai buffaloes, which have big round wen bubbles sort of at the front of the mouth. So this is like a hybrid style Thai ranchu. And then finally you will have just the plain old Thai ranchu, which has more of a sort of boxy wen, but this is not to be confused with a top view Japanese ranchu, which has that nice square head looking from above. So I hope that video has helped at least one of you distinguish white spot or epistylus from wen growth, and also not to worry too much when you see the wen changing in colour and developing these little white growths. So thank you for watching, and hopefully all of you have made it till the end of the video. I hope you have a good rest of the day. Remember to keep those water changes up, and happy fish keeping.